Greetings fellow hunters, today we're going to be looking at the church pick, one of Bloodborne's DLC weapons. So before I start talking about the weapon and all that, let me just address a complaint I'm getting frequently on the channel, and that is why am I not showing the stats before I proceed using the weapon in the video. And that is because I garnered all this footage in the first 2 weeks when the DLC was released, and I was using, like, I have 8 builds and I was using them back and forth, and even using different saves, so I couldn't keep track. So I apologize for that. But how you can redeem that, if you want to know, my stats. All my characters on their defensive stat are usually the same, and that is that I'll have usually between 45 and 50 vitality with 50% HP ruin and 10% ruin, and I'll have between 20 and 30 endurance with 20% stamina ruin or 15. And my damage attributes usually reflect the weapon. So if I'm using, let's say, the Ludwig and it has B in strength and B in skill, I'll have 50 or between 40 and 50 in both stats, strength and skill. If the weapon is strength and arcane, assume that I'll have between 40 and 50 in either strength or arcane. And of course I'm going to be using it optimally to show the weapon in its best state, so obviously, so you can see the weapon when it shines. And that's why I do these reviews and give you my opinion on them. So without further ado, let's start with the church pick. So starting with the church pick's stats, the church pick requires 14 in skill and 9 in strength in order to heal, so very low stats. And it has D scaling in strength and B scaling in skill when fully upgraded, and C in arcane if you want an elemental damage, which you can do, by the way. And the church pick is definitely one of my favorite weapons. It has speed, it has combo fluidity, which is everything for me, a beautiful fun ass moveset, really very enjoyable moveset. I couldn't get enough of the moveset. Very fast, you can hit behind you. And another thing, I think this weapon is the full revenge from the Lucerne from Dark Souls 1 and 2. So there was always a thrusting weapon, a fully exclusive thrusting weapon, which is called the Lucerne from Dark Souls 1 and 2, and it usually wasn't that good, especially in... Actually, they were bad in both games, in my opinion. However, in PvE, they were very strong. And I think this weapon is influenced from the Lucerne, because this weapon, when it's transformed, all its attacks are thrust damage, all of it. And even in one-handed, most of attacks, more than 50% of the attacks, do deal exclusively thrust damage. Thrust damage, by the way, is one of the different types of damages, and it's one of the better ones, especially on counters. When you hit somebody during an animation, while they're attacking, while they're healing, while they're running, while they're dodging, you do get a huge boost on your attack damage. Another unique aspect of the church pick is a very unique thing, by the way. There's no other weapon that has this property, and that is it does 20% extra damage to both righteous enemies and enemies weak against serrated weapons. There's no weapon that does both. There is only or maybe the threaded cane. I think the threaded cane maybe, but from what I know, this is the only weapon that can do extra damage to both type of enemies, kin and beasts. So this weapon is a PvE killer, really, and with the thrust, if you counter enemies, you will do tremendous damage. So don't underestimate this. This is a very important thing when it comes to PvE. And of course, as I said, with the thrust, and of course you can also buff it with the fire, which is strong against beast, or you can buff it with bolt, which is strong against skin. So you can really play around with this weapon. And another thing, you can use this weapon in many different ways while choosing your gems. You can really make it broken if you want. I did not try it yet. I might try it in the future. I'm sure I will. You can use the thrusting damage attack up blood gems, which are, by the way, stronger than the strongest physical damage gems. So the strongest purely physical damage gems are the 27% gems. Forget the strength scaling for a moment, the new gem. So the strongest one is a 27% gem. However, when you thrust damage, you can get 33 or 35 even % extra thrust damage. So if you put 3 of those on this weapon, I cannot even imagine how strong it can be when transformed. And let's not forget that one-handed does have most of its attack thrust, so, and especially its initial attack, so you don't have to worry. You can use this weapon with just thrust gems and you will perform well. And I think also the only weakness this weapon has is its low damage, and it's not even low, it's just lower than most, but you won't feel it with the speed and the range and the combos you can do. You just don't feel it. But with the thrusting thing, I definitely think this is one of the best weapons in the game. If you try the thrusting gems, it will definitely be up there, since, as I said, the moveset is just top tier, really top tier. You can hit people behind you. This is nothing, to joke about. Really, the church pick is, when it comes to, if you're looking for a good moveset, it's one of the best in the game, no doubt. Touching upon the moveset, the R2 on the church pick is superb. Really, I really like the good R2 weapons because there are not many. The R2 on the church pick can be used while you're using R1 or before or after. It just feels, part of the combo, part of the moveset. Where some other weapons, their R2s are just way out there. They're just so different, so much slower. They have so much recovery time. They're not worth it. But this R2 is top tier 100% because it has a delay attack. And I told you before, delay attacks are one of the best in PvP. Since most players will dodge as soon as they see you attack, the delayed attack will actually attack after they finish their dodge. And it works wonders with the church pick. And then another thing you have with the weapon is that you have 4 attacks in a row with the R1, which is a lot. You can spam the R1 like there's no tomorrow. And it doesn't have high multipliers or anything, but you can literally obliterate everybody around you in PvE if there's a lot of enemies, because it just hits around you right and left. And my top favorite attack on the church pick is the charged R2. That charged R2 is badass, man. I really love it. So as you can see it here, you can one-shot people. It can one-shot people. And why do I love it? And there's always a reason when I love something a lot. And that's because it does have a follow-up attack like the Ludwig and the hammer and some other weapons. So when you charge the R2, you can press R2 again and you get a second attack which has hyper armor. So in case you don't know, when you charge R2, when you do the charge R2, at the point where you hear the audio cue, that's when you have hyper armor. You cannot be stunned. There are small different ways that you can get stunned, but most of the time you just won't get stunned. And the second R2 also has this property. So in the middle of the animation of the second attack, you can get hit and not get stunned and still hit your opponent. And that's what you'll be looking for. So what you can do is charge the R2, try to hit your opponent, but if you don't, that's okay. That's what we call a bait. And that's when your opponent thinks you are vulnerable and they will attack, and that's when you will do your second R2. And even if they hit you with their attack and they were successful, you will still hit them. And that the second R2 has 2.1 multiplier, so it will do double damage and extra 10%. So it will do double damage. I repeat, double damage. The first charge R2 has 1.9, so you'll do 90% from your original damage. So it is your bread and butter basically, this attack, since it's drastically stronger than any other attack you have in your arsenal. And then of course you have the beautiful L2, one of the best L2s of any weapon. It's a fast poke, very fast poke, that you can use anytime you're a combo. It's extremely fast and can be used anytime. R1, L2, R1, R2, you can do these combos, guys. So L2 is my second favorite attack, since it makes this weapon even faster and increases its own combo lethality. The one-handed moveset, as I said, is not bad at all. It also has a delayed R2, which is also great. I usually always use it when somebody's trying to finish me off. Usually I just press R2 and they just land in the attack. I don't know how to describe it. Just delay attacks, as I said, are one of the best in PvP. And one-handed also, you can spam like there's no tomorrow too. So this weapon is very spammy, but in a fun way. I really like it. It's definitely in my top 5 somewhere, this weapon, on my favorites. I really enjoy weapons that gives you diversity and cool movesets, and of course the damage is also not something you don't 3-shot people like, you know, other weapons when you put good gems. However, I'm sure you can do that when you put, you know, the thrusting gems. But all in all, I just think this is one of the best weapons, and I know you heard that a lot, guys. I know, I get it in the comment section where people tell me, you say that all weapons are good. And I have to say, in the DLC, they are, all of them, other than the boom hammer, in my opinion. The boom hammer is not bad at all, but I think just the moveset is lame. It's like the Tonitrus. It's just, for me, the moveset is everything, and when you have a lame moveset, well, you cannot do much with it. But all the other weapons, they're really good. But this one, I really like it more than most, because the moveset is just amazing, and I have one of the most fun while using it. And I really feel tactical while playing with it. So I don't know. I really don't know what really makes me love this weapon. I really want to hear your thoughts about this weapon, if you like it or not. I don't see it that much used, which is you know, kind of weird. It's really a good weapon. I really encourage you to use it and try it out. I really think it's one of the best. And yeah, guys, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace.